Welcome to Fight for Life, a pro-life radio show discussing the ministry of First Choice Pregnancy Services here in Las Vegas. I'm Deborah, board member and executive director of First Choice Pregnancy Services.
And I'm Jessica, logistics specialist at First Choice Pregnancy Services.
We are ambassadors for the unborn. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, friends. Thanks for joining us today here on Fight for Life. I am here with Eve today. We are your ambassadors on behalf of the babies, here to share real life insights and stories in the fight for the unborn. We have some special people here with us today. We have Sir David Flipo, and we have Noah, his campaign manager, that are going to be diving into conversation with us today. But before we do that, I'm going to let Eve give you the weekly stats.
Wonderful. Hello to all. From October 12th to October 18th, we did a total of 62 pregnancy tests completely free and 44 ultrasounds completely free as well for women who come from different walks of life into First Choice. A lot of them come searching for an abortion, and thankfully when they come in, they are well received by all our staff and members and volunteers. And over 81% of them choose life after visiting First Choice.
And we've had quite a few of those walking in lately.
Yes.
For those who haven't listened to this broadcast possibly before, First Choice is located across the street. We're on a cul-de-sac from the busiest late-term abortion clinic in the state of Nevada that does abortions up to 6 months. And so God was good in allowing us to get a location right there next to that facility, and thousands of babies' lives have been saved as a result of our location. So we're going to have some stories for you guys today. But before we jump into any stories, we're going to introduce the folks we have here with us today. They were just down at First Choice getting a tour and a little insight as to what's going on. So they're very familiar with who we are down there. We have Sir David Flipo. He is a retired lieutenant colonel from the U.S. Air Force, owner of Strategic Foundations, LLC, with First Command, and currently the Republican congressional candidate for Nevada's 4th Congressional District. We have our good station manager here trying to tell me something. He's trying to help us out, actually, because we don't have Jess here today. And then we also have Noah, his campaign manager, here with him. Thanks for joining us today, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Let me scoot a little way so that I'm on camera. There we go. We got it fixed. Thanks, Charles. David, give us a little background on yourself and tell us why you're running for Congress.
Well, so I am running for Congress, so thank you for that. When I look at the race, and I decided about a year ago to get into this race, I looked at my background to see if I was the right person to represent Nevada in the Congressional 4th District. And I looked at what I had as far as what I saw was going to be the issues of 2024. And in my opinion, they were going to be national security, energy independence, and economy, which have all come to fruition, as we know. So I've 24 years, retired Air Force, combat commander in Iraq, worked on the oil fields of Alaska for 10 years, and currently a financial advisor, as you said, with First Command. And as a small business owner of 2 small businesses, this economy is crazy right now.
Yeah.
But so that's a little bit about me. But really, I really enjoyed that tour that I got today. That was amazing, and the things that you do to help people. And actually, you are the choice. You know, when it comes to giving options for people to have a choice in their pregnancy.
Yeah. Do you have wife, kids?
I do. I am married. I have 2 kids.
Make sure you plug your wife and
I
your kids.
know, right? That's funny. Absolutely. So she's been with me. Next year will be our 40th wedding anniversary.
Awesome.
So
Congratulations.
we are high school sweethearts.
Oh,
So.
that's great.
Sweet.
And And then we have two boys. One lives here in Las Vegas, and one is up at St. George, and he manages our store that we have up there in St. George, Utah.
So you come to this conversation with experience as a dad, which is good. Noah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I graduated from UC Davis a year ago. I'm 23 years old. I'm from California. Pretty much the past year I've been spending as much time outside of the state as I could. And
Kudos.
3 months ago, I just got hired to manage David Flipo's congressional race, and I've really been enjoying every moment of it. Made a really good friend with David Flipo.
I met him just recently, and I was so impressed and encouraged to see somebody young like him out participating and affecting change in the political scene.
Oh, yeah. I've lived in California my whole life. I know everything that's wrong with it, and I tell people there's a reason why I'm here and not there.
David, you guys just came to our banquet recently. What were your thoughts on our banquet?
Yeah, that was amazing, and I learned so much just by coming to the banquet about your organization and what your needs are and stuff. I mean, the things that you do, the people that you help, the numbers that you just mentioned, and the lives that you're saving, and you're a nonprofit and working with this with all donations, and that's just amazing what you're able to accomplish. And listening to Dr. Hamza and Robin on their experiences and and what they're doing to save lives, I tell you, it was very heartwarming to see, and the numbers of people that you had at that banquet was crazy. It was so awesome. It was a great event, and to see that many people who share like-mindedness like us, it was an amazing thing to see.
Yeah, we want to give him a shout out because he actually sponsored our event, and we are appreciative of those who invest in the cause of life and are willing to attach their names to defending the lives of the unborn. So thank you for supporting that event and sponsoring our event. Did you want to ask him something, Eve? I see.
How many people did you have at that event?
We had about 600. That was actually one of our smallest events in years.
Oh, it looked huge.
With the economy, it's definitely taken a hit on our finance and everybody's finances across the board. Nevada's really struggling, as you're very well aware of, which is why you're running. And so when it affects individuals and families' pockets, it ultimately affects and impacts us. So our attendance was a little bit down this year, but we serve a good God, and He always provides for our needs, and we trust that however many people showed up were the people He wanted there that night.
I'm not sure how you could have fit more people in that room. It was.
We would have just moved walls. What was your favorite part of the night, Noah?
My favorite part of the night, probably just hearing people's testimonies of how First Choice gave them the confidence to carry their baby to term. It's really powerful. With a lot of women that want to get abortions, they, like what you were saying, a big part of it is they just don't feel confident that they'll have the support needed to carry to term and raise the baby. And seeing all the moms up there with the babies that First Choice helps keep alive,
that's always the highlight of people's lives, people's night there at that. What's your position on abortion in your candidate?
Yeah, so there's my moral compass is that I would never do that. The state law is obviously what it is, and I don't see, from what the courts have done, and they've given that to the states, it's very clear in Nevada where we're at. So I think it's 24, 26 weeks, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So when it comes at a national level, obviously I'm running for a federal race, and I don't see this anymore as a federal issue because the Supreme Court's already said that it's a states' rights issue.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on that as a young person in politics?
Yeah, it's very tough in Nevada when it's in the Constitution that abortion is legal up until 24 weeks. It's a tough spot for anybody who actually wants to make a difference without using the will of the people. I think first and foremost, I think everybody running for federal office should really push to have federal funding for pregnancy centers such as First Choice, because it's places like First Choice that actually let those mothers have that make that informed decision, so it can actually be a choice for them.
Yeah, that was interesting because David was asking me a little while ago, is there any federal funding available to you guys in this? And I'm like, he was talking about Planned Parenthood and all the federal funds they receive. And we were talking about one of the nonprofits here in the state of Nevada that funds all of this stuff for you to come here to our state to abort your baby. Yet when it comes to those who are providing resources to give you options beyond aborting your baby, politics gets involved, and it's a lot more complicated issue to get the support on.
It is. As a politician, is there something new that you learned at First Choice that you didn't know before?
That the tour was amazing. So what I loved about what you guys do is the education part. It's like, it's giving that choice. You're actually educating so that they can make an educated decision instead of an emotional decision, and it's a hard decision, and I understand that. But the resources that you provide, the ultrasounds, and all of the things that you can do to include reversing
An abortion that's already underway. The abortion pill.
Absolutely. That I mean, that fact alone, like I had no idea that you could do that. And then you can help with that, because it's an emotional decision that will impact these people for the rest of their lives. And whether they go through it or not, it will always have an impact. And so having that choice and have that education is just so important. And I fear that when they go to Planned Parenthood or these others, are they really getting? They call themselves pro-choice, but I'm not sure they're given a choice.
Yeah, are they given all the choices, and at what price do your choices come to you? First Choice, we don't charge you anything for any of the services we do, because we want you. We're not profiting off any decision you're making. We want you to make a choice from a position of being fully educated and informed on a decision you're going to make that's going to impact your life for the long run, whether that is choosing to have your baby or that is choosing to abort that child. There are things that are going to ramifications for both choices that you need to be fully aware of.
Right. I mean, you can choose the option, but you cannot choose a consequence. Right. And
the other thing I was impressed with your clinic is how you've utilized every square inch. I mean, the counseling rooms that you have, the numbers of counseling rooms you have, in such a, the space that you have, and the location is so critical for you to be able to reach out to those people considering.
See, guys, listen to him. We need another building. We need to expand. We are maxed out. We have utilized every square inch at First Choice, and we are just praying that God has that donor out there, or donors, that sees the value in what we're doing and the lives that we're impacting, the lives that are being saved, the people that are hearing about Christ, and join us in helping us expand those services throughout our valley. Our valley is huge. I was flying back home in from Dallas last night, from Florida, but we had a layover in Dallas, and I was like, man, this Dallas, the layout in Dallas was massive, which I Googled. It's like 7 million people. And then we arrived to Vegas, and it's crazy how big Vegas is now. Like, I remember when I moved here 19 years ago, the lights weren't quite spread out the way they are now. But for there to only be 2 pregnancy centers in town, as I'm flying in last night and seeing how spread out Vegas is now, we definitely need more centers spread out in this valley to reach people that need the options that we're offering, because both of us are pretty much within a couple miles of each other right now.
So, something that caught me off guard, my jaw dropped, was the numbers of positive and negative tests that you guys go through. And I'm looking at your basket there with all the positive tests, and I think my comment to you is, so is that for like a month or a year? And you're like, no, that's like this week. And I was like, oh my God, that was a lot of positive tests, the negative tests that you guys go through?
Yeah, so the ladies were in the conference room putting together the positive packets for those ladies, the resources to give out. And he saw them, stacked them in a basket, and he said, he asked if it was for a long period of time. And I said, oh, no, that's for like 2 days.
Because of what you mentioned now that every state will determine whether it's legal or not legal. We're getting patients from out of state.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's so common to receive them from Texas, Utah, Arizona, Florida, because you just came from Florida.
Mhm.
They're willing to do the flight all the way to Las Vegas. And when they come with the decision of going through an abortion, it's not an easy decision. They come with burden,
Yeah.
on their shoulders. And we receive it with open arms in a place where we're going to go ahead and provide them, as you mentioned, all the education and give them all of their life options. And we're not taking not even one penny. On the contrary, not only do we give them all the options, we also provide them the gospel.
Mhm. And that's an awesome thing that you guys have in your back pocket now with your influence, that you guys can advocate on behalf of the babies. We advocate on behalf of the babies in some way. They're on the front line. I always say it's an honor and a privilege to be in a position where you can advocate for those who have no voice. So for you running for Congress now, we need good people representing our country. I was actually praying on my way in this morning for all of our leaders, specifically in our state. And then our leader on the national level and all the corrupt cronies behind him. Just praying that God would raise up people of integrity that would be bold and courageous and stand for things that matter to God. Ultimately, we're here for such a short period of time on earth. And really what all that matters is what awaits us after this and how we live our lives in light of eternity. And so to have the opportunity that you have now on a larger stage, to be able to not only advocate for the lives of the unborn, but for issues that matter. There's so much stuff going down across the board right now that if somebody would have told you 5 years ago this is what America was going to be like, you'd be like, you're out of your mind. Or maybe not because of who was president at the time. Actually not. That was a good president at the time. Before that. So that's good that God's given you a position right now that you can try and affect some change that's positive on behalf of everybody.
So I thank you for the tour, because I think everybody needs to be open-minded on this. And I hope if any of the other politicians and candidates running on either side of the party, you need to educate yourself and you need to come in and see what you guys do, right? Your doors are open to all of us, and I appreciate that. Or if you're a constituent out there and you want your representative to come out and get a tour, call them and tell them to come out, because
please.
Just like the women that come in to educate themselves to make that tough decision and that choice, we as their representatives, whether it's at the state level or federal level, we need to come in and if you don't understand it from the ground and you don't understand what your facilities look like and how limited you are and how you need to expand, how can we help you? And if we don't get the politicians out here to understand that, to get the governor out here, the governor is amazing on the education stuff and everything. There's so many things that we need to do, and we need everybody to tour your facility to understand what you're dealing with and how you're giving people a real choice.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, actually, because even with him touching on that, even if you are on the other side of this issue, we would love for you to come down with an open mind just to see what we're doing and let us tell you what we're doing without somebody else telling you what we're doing. I was telling him earlier how last year I went on the local KNPR radio show with the opposite side that was not by any stretch of the imagination on the side of life. And it's important in our day and age that people sit down and have conversations like the adults that we are and agree to disagree. It's healthy to have a conversation and to understand other people's points of views, their perspectives. You don't have to agree with it, but it's still important for you to have understanding and a knowledge.
People need to be open-minded.
Yeah.
And when you're closed-minded and you're not willing to at least hear the other side, then you're not educating yourself, and then you're not acting out with full information.
You know, I heard I think it was the radio the other day about Elizabeth Warren and how they've invited her to pregnancy centers up in Massachusetts where she represents. And her handlers are like, absolutely not. And I'm like, but you know, she goes after pregnancy centers with legislation. You know, there's been plenty of stuff trying to shut down pregnancy centers across the nation. And it's sad because when you're operating from a position that you have power and the ability to impact and affect people's lives, you shouldn't be closed off to understanding and hearing the opposing point of view. You should be able to, with confidence, have that conversation with somebody, knowing what you believe. And so that's a really important thing. If you're local, come down and visit us. You could be as pro-choice as they come, and I will still give you a hug.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kill them with kindness.
That's right.
But yeah, it was kind of like what you were saying earlier when you were talking to that lady on the radio show who works with one of those abortion nonprofits, and she told you, look, I'm not pro-choice. Pro-choice is an outdated term. I'm pro-abortion. Mm-hmm. The masks are coming off with a lot of people now, showing that they're not worried about a woman actually making that choice. They just think abortion's good. You should get the abortion.
They're owning it.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You're wrong if you're gonna dissuade them from getting that.
Yeah, the other side is very eager to own their position. And so I say, you know, the pro-life side of us, we need to be equally eager to own that baby. I have a plaque in my office. I don't know that you guys saw it because we didn't walk into my office, but it is a picture of a baby in an ultrasound, and it says, what would the unborn baby at grave risk of dying have you to do? And you know, the Bible passage of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When you place yourself in the image of that baby in an ultrasound machine and ultrasound image, and you ask that question, with you being that baby, it completely affects how you want people to advocate for you. It's one thing when it's somebody else. It's another thing when it's you. And so that is one of the guiding questions that we ask ourselves all the time at First Choice of, should we be closed today? No, because if that baby's mom is driving down the street and the abortion clinic is open, that baby does not want our doors to be locked. They want us to be open to be able to advocate on their behalf. And so that is really a guiding question that really guides us in a lot of what we do, even in how we utilize the videos in counseling rooms or the literature that we share, all of that. Eve, you have a story you want to share with us?
I did. Right now that you were talking about how there's women that come to us, with it comes also, you know, the men that come with them as well. And a lot of them feel like it's only the woman's choice. But we have to go ahead and agree that it's not only the woman's choice, right? And it's also that father that walked in around, was it 6 o'clock p.m. that one day we had prayer night, and knocked at the door with his wife and walked in and came in with all the intentions of going through an abortion procedure, right? Because it had been given an address. As you guys know, we're right around the corner, very close to one of the busiest abortion clinics. So they thought we were the abortion clinic. But we received them with great love, and we want to hear what's the reason why they want to go through an abortion. And at times they might feel that the situation that they're going through, nobody else is going through it, it's only them, or that there's no answer for their concern. And when we provide all these resources, they are like, really, you can do all that for me? You can help me this way? Yes.
Changes their decision.
Absolutely. You know, at times it's just we have to go through certain processes to be who we are now. Haven't we all gone through a situation that's been tough in our lives? And here we're standing still straight.
Yep.
Right? And it was probably thanks to great people that helped us along the way. And this is where First Choice comes in. Right? Yep. And we represent that. And the family chose pro-life. And they were actually at the banquet. You guys are going to remember.
They're on stage, yeah.
Yes. And so it was great.
Wow, that was a fast 25 minutes. Guys, see how fast that goes?
Quick.
Hey, how can people find you?
Well, for my campaign, they can go to electdavidflipo.com. So I do appreciate you giving me that opportunity.
ElectDavidFlipo.com. We'll put it in the email today, too.
Yeah, absolutely. But really, I want your viewers to know that you guys need help. You need funding with what you're doing as a nonprofit. And have the operating expenses that you have are amazing.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you
We'll
for
have
having
to
us.
have you guys back later on in the election season.
Yes, for sure.
And thank you all for joining us today. We will see you or talk to you next week. God bless you.
Thanks for joining your ambassadors for the unborn on the Fight for Life radio today and every Thursday on KKVV 1060 AM, the best news radio, the gospel airship.
If you'd like to support the cause of saving unborn babies, or if you have a question you'd like us to answer on the air, go to fcpsfriends.org or call us at 702-294-CARE. Again, that number is 702-294-2273.
On behalf of his little ones, thank you and God bless.
From the Salvation Army, welcome to Heart.